Hello, I'm Steven Santana with Let's Just Magic. I'm here with Annette from Harmonix, and we're here to talk about Amplitude. So for those who don't know what Amplitude is, can you explain what it is, where it comes from, and what's it about?
Sure. So, before games like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, we at Harmonix actually made a couple other games that had a huge fan following. Didn't really sell that well, but, a lot of people got their hands on it, including myself when I was in high school, which was very cool. So Frequency and Amplitude came out in the early 2000s. It is basically a beat matching game. So if you are familiar with like Guitar Hero and Rock Band, you have the note highways, and you're basically playing in time with the music based on the different stems. Which is really cool. So we released Amplitude back in 2003. So it's been quite a long time since we've had one. We've had a lot of fans over the years just be like, oh yeah, new game announcement, cool. When are you making a new Amplitude? So this is our opportunity to do that, and we're really excited to bring it back to new consoles.
Yes, a lot of people are very excited for it. So of course, Frequency was the first title that Harmonix put out. Can you speak at all about why the decision was made to reboot Amplitude and not Frequency?
Yes, so that is a very much heated debate. As some people, we have like the Frequency enthusiasts who love the tonal and how that played, and then we have Amplitude enthusiasts as well. So I think Amplitude was sort of chosen as Frequency was the first game in, I guess, this like series. So it needed, it was amazing, but I think Amplitude was like way more refined from like a design standpoint. There's a lot of important fixes that were made to make, messaging in the game a lot clearer in terms of like when you're switching lanes and where you should go and all that stuff. So by default, we decided to go with Amplitude. But there are some, like we are thinking about Frequency as well and things that made that game fun and how we can sort of like use this reboot to kind of make the best of both happen.
Very cool, very cool. Thank you. So now there was a Kickstarter for the game, obviously. But there was it kind of got funded very last minute. Thankfully, it was though successful. How worried were you guys about what would happen if it didn't get funded?
Yeah, no, that was terrifying. Anyone who's done a Kickstarter knows that it is just like however long the campaign is, you're just not gonna sleep, and you're gonna be constantly refreshing the page and like just hoping for the best. We had like a really strong first day, I remember, and then stuff sort of plateaued, and we're like, oh my gosh, and it was like really down to the wire. Like by the end of it, we're like, okay, we're gonna do an all-day live stream like telethon, and we just like really pulled out all the stops, and everyone at the studio kind of came together and rallied and really pushed for the cause. And then on top of that, like our fans are so amazing, and people sort of went back in and like increased their pledge levels as like try to push it over the edge, and they did, and it was incredible. It was like really exciting to watch. It was really scary, but now we're here with the game, and like it's really thanks to all the fans who supported. And thankful. Thank you.
Yes. So multiplayer is back, and it is playable here at the PlayStation Experience. So what changes came to multiplayer compared to the original Amplitude?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of what made the multiplayer fun. Like still, it's still very core to that. So like, we have. It's 4 players. It's local multiplayer. So all of the power-ups are back. You're kind of like running around, like kind of like zipping across the lanes and like messing with your friends. And so we've been using like the different power-ups, which they've all been renamed for anyone who is like curious about stuff maybe coverage you've been seeing. They've all been renamed to different stuff. So but stuff like the bumper and like auto catcher and all that stuff is still there. So you can kind of like steal tracks from your friends and knock them off and kind of mess with them as they're going. So it makes it really crazy, especially on higher difficulty levels. Things get insane. And so we were all playing earlier and just like shouting at each other and getting really upset because of like why did you kick me off? You stole my track. I hate you. So it's still very fun, and it's like kind of a nice like living room experience where everyone just sits around a TV like the old days and has a good time.
Yeah, it does look to be like a very, very fun local multiplayer. It's just everyone yelling at each other. So the last question is, you guys have a soundtrack that has a lot of new tracks, but I'm curious about how many original tracks from the original Amplitude will be returning.
So we haven't talked too much about the soundtrack yet, but the game is mostly new music. So it is basically an Amplitude reboot, new visuals, new content, new game. But it's still electronic focused. We just try to make it a little more cohesive this time around with the album concept that they've been talking about, where like the main campaign songs will actually tell like a little bit of a narrative, but they're all like kind of stylistically very different, but fun and super playable and designed specifically for this kind of gameplay, so that because like the trouble you run into with like licensed music from other artists is trying to shoehorn that in, and then sometimes you have like tracks that are a little sparse with notes and it's not as like engaging. So we're trying to like kind of avoid that and try to develop as much in-house as possible. So the guys at Harmonix have been working on a lot of really amazing music. We have 5 songs here at the show, which is really cool. And then on top of that, we have external contributions as well that we'd announced during the Kickstarter. And plus on top of that, we have Kickstarter backers who contributed music as well. So it's a ton of music and from a ton of different people, and it's all really cool and a lot of familiar tracks. Some tracks from the original may appear in some sort of remixed fashion, but you know, we're not going to say which ones, but I think people probably have a hunch of what the favorites were, so that's all I'm going to say.
All right, very cool. So if people are interested in finding out more about Amplitude and the ways they can contribute possibly, where could they go for that?
Yes, so we have a Twitter account. It's at Amplitude Game, and it is also the same on Facebook, facebook.com/Amplitude Game. And so we'll be updating those accounts with tons of information, especially, you know, like whenever we have a release date. So far it's in 2015 for PS3 and PS4. And then any other news and ways to pre-order. We have a backer kit page up as part of our Kickstarter, so people want to pre-order and pick up some swag. We have some cool shirts and stuff if you missed the campaign. So check that out.
All right. Very cool. Well, thank you, Annette.
Thank you.
So if you want Amplitude, it's coming to PS3 and PS4 exclusively, digital download, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, very cool. So if you want to learn more about Amplitude, check out Amplitude on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want more videos from the PlayStation Experience, continue to check our YouTube channel. Thank you.